Morning peeps, good morning everyone. How's everyone doing? Hopefully you guys are all doing well. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button. If you guys are new to the channel, don't forget as well to like and share the vids. I have the worst hay fever ever. I didn't even get it bad last year, but this year, as soon as the sun came out, it's killed me. It really has. I've taken everything. Can someone recommend something for me, please? Please leave a comment, send me a DM, send me an email, whatever you need to do, get in touch with me because I'm dying. I'm dying right now. My nose is blocked. My eyes are runny. Anyway, look, I don't want to bore you guys with my hay fever chronicles and stories. So let's move on and talk boxing. Very quickly, I've just seen this. Josh Taylor versus Teofimo Lopez coming up very, very soon. I saw the ticket sales. Horrendous. And remember, it's taking place in the Hulu Theatre as well. So not big MSG. Hulu Theatre, I think, is around 5,500, I think. Let me just double check very quickly, actually. Hulu Theatre capacity. What is it? Hulu Theatre capacity is 5,600. I'd say they've probably done around 3,000 tickets. And I don't normally talk about things like this because I don't necessarily care about ticket sales, especially if I'm not going or, you know, I'm watching it at home. But the reason I care about it is because Josh Taylor's a champion. Teofimo Lopez is a formidable challenge, but that fight should have happened over here. And I think you guys can agree. If that fight happens over here, that fight does the AO Arena. I think it does. I don't think it does 20,000. I don't think it does the O2 Arena, but I think it does the AO Arena. Or even not the AO Arena, it does a smaller one. The Echo Arena. It does one of those. So yeah, disappointing that it doesn't look like it's going to be a sellout. But look, June 10th, still got some time. They'll give some tickets away and hopefully it'll be a good atmosphere. Hopefully a few Brits are going to travel over. All right, loads of boxing to recap from the weekend. Obviously, I was in Manchester for Leigh Wood versus Mauricio Lara. Jack Catterall, Darragh Foley put on a good fight as well. Terry Harper defended her world title against Ivana Habazin. Then there was the big show in Bournemouth. We'll talk about that. I'm going to do a separate video on the scorecards for that event, specifically that 112-112. A lot of people have got in touch with me. Some of you think 112-112 could be justified. I watched it last night. I scored it round for round. I think so too, but we'll talk about that. And obviously, we'll talk about Michael Conlan being knocked out by Alberto Lopez, who's starting to make a name for himself. He's beat Josh Warrington away, beat Michael Conlan away. He's a problem at featherweight. He's a problem. He's clearly got power, very awkward style, but we'll talk about all of them. But anyway, let's start in Manchester. This is an interesting discussion just because, remember, a lot of people, even to an extent myself, were like, maybe this fight shouldn't go ahead. I didn't put it out there, but in my head I was thinking, should this fight go ahead? Obviously, look, Mauricio Lara came in 4 pounds over. That needs to be discussed a little bit as well, because although he came 4 pounds over, it's because the British Boxing Board of Control said you can't make the featherweight limit. But you can't make it. This is the weight we think you can make. So that's the weight he came in at. Could he have tried to make that weight? Potentially. But then if he tried to, I think they felt that it was going to pretty much kill him, and then the fight could have been called off. So they made that judgment call. Then there was the judgment call from Ben Davison. Okay, look, this guy's clearly now a super feather. What do we do? Like, what do we do? Do we say no? Do we say we're not going to do it? Ben Davison clearly very, very upset. I'm guessing behind the scenes, and I said this on the preview video I made, I said that the British Boxing Board of Control need to earn their coin here and almost restrict Lara from sort of bloating up overnight. And I think they did that. So I think come fight night, I think both were pretty even. So no advantage gained from either fighter. With regards to the calls for calling it off, look, hindsight's wonderful because Leigh Wood won and it's fine. But if Leigh Wood got injured, then those calls would have been valid. But with regards to that, boxers, like, it's funny, boxers are a different breed. They're a different breed. As soon as that weigh-in thing happened, I reached out to a few boxers and I was like, what, should Leigh Wood like not fight? Like, genuine concerns. They're like, what? They looked at me or spoke to me like I was crazy. Like, what are you talking about? Of course he should fight. And that's when I realized they're different from us. Like, they do something that 99.9% of us especially all of us that are probably watching this video, would not do. I'm not getting in the ring to be punched in the face. It's just not happening. Like, of all the sports I could do, it's literally at the bottom of the list. So they do something we couldn't do. So it's difficult for us to kind of understand that when we're saying the fight should be called off because of that and our concerns for them, they almost laugh at those concerns because they know the danger that's in front of them. Sometimes that's why we always use the phrase that we need to save them from themselves. It's true. But look, no risk, no reward, unfortunately, in boxing. It's always high risk. Getting in the ring's always high risk. Getting in with Lara was going to be high risk. But the reward was going to be massive if Leigh pulled it off. And the reward is now massive. Leigh Wood will always be known now as a 2-time world champion. He gets revenge on someone that blasted him out last time. And I think bigger than that, and you probably saw the interview post-fight, Leigh was like, yeah, the city ground next. That's what I want. If Leigh Wood didn't fight and didn't win, then I know it's easy to say, again, hindsight, you're not a 2-weight world champion. If he didn't win and he fought someone else, mandatory for that belt is a guy called Komatov. I like Leigh Wood, and if he watches these videos, he's probably going to have a dig at me. I don't think Leigh Wood's beating Komatov. He's an Uzbeki fighter, 11-0, 10 knockouts, killer. That's what would have been the next fight lined up. And not only that, but if Leigh Wood, for the casual fans, if Leigh Wood fought Komatov and lost, people don't know who Komatov is. It's a bad loss on your record. They know who Lara is. So it's a weird one. But in the end, it all worked out well for Leigh. He gets the city ground fight, which is going to be 7 figures. He's 34, going to be 35 soon, I think, in a couple of weeks, Leigh Wood. And it looks like he'll fight Josh Warrington. He'll beat Josh Warrington as well, I think. So Leigh Wood's CV now, right at the end of his career, what an Indian summer this is, will say Zhu Can, Michael Conlan, Mauricio Lara, potentially Josh Warrington. Incredible. This is the guy that lost to Jazza Dickens 3 years ago. Incredible. Less than that. No, around 3 years ago. Let's talk about his fight, though. I thought Mauricio Lara, and I think this is their plan going in. They knew that Mauricio Lara obviously had an issue making weight, clearly. So they probably thought if we can get past round 6, the spite and just his energy would start to sink, and it did, right? His energy sank massively after round 6. But prior to that, that motherfucker was dangerous. He hit Leigh Wood with a left hook in the first round because Leigh was controlling it. Leigh, very smart, kept that right up all the time, was using the left, doing the body jab, which really hurt and sapped the energy of Mauricio Lara. For a split second, Leigh let that right hand drop, bang. And I was like, whoa, this guy is super dangerous. Lara, this is going to make you laugh, this comparison. Lara does something that Floyd does. It's the way he kind of leans onto his front foot. It's very, very Floyd. Look, that's the only thing he does that Floyd does. But he leans on that front foot. It keeps you kind of guessing. You don't know what he's going to do. You don't know if he's going to spring to the right hook. You don't know if he's going to throw that left hook. You don't know if he's going to go straight right. He's very, very good, Lara. Very, very disinterested in how to make weight properly. I mean, this guy bloody drinks Coke and eats pizza after weigh-ins, but when it gets into the ring, he's very good, very deceptive. I would like to see him versus Alberto Lopez. I don't know if that can be made. But anyway, look, so Leigh had to get through the second half of the fight. Once he did that, look, Lara is still very dangerous, but I think we saw that Lara sat and the punch had gone. Leigh obviously got the knockdown as well. And I'm just happy for Leigh Wood. Very, very happy. Again, when I say no risk, no reward, Lara was a voluntary. So first off, Lara was a voluntary. When Leigh Wood beat Michael Conlan, didn't have to fight Mauricio Lara. Look what you're doing. Why are you fighting Mauricio Lara for? Took it. Got stopped. Got hurt in that fight, the first fight, so many times. Said, you know what, fuck it. Let's go again. No risk, no reward. Lara has an issue making weight. Don't have to fight him. Call it off. Call it off. No risk, no reward. You fight him, no risk, no reward. You've now pretty much change your life because you're going to get paid 7 figures for whoever he fights at the City Run because they will pack that place out. Josh makes sense because Josh brings his own fan base. Jesus Christ, half Leeds, half Forest fans together. Forget it. Take my money now, please. Take my money now. Jack Cattrall Impressive performance, wasn't it? Really, really impressive. I'm going to say this now, and I think I'm correct in saying this. Jack Catterall has the best jab in British boxing. The best jab in British boxing. It's a fucking forehammer. There was a few times Dara Foley ran in and the jab just boom. Sorry, boom, he's southpaw. Boom. Like, just stopped him in his tracks, like boom. I was like, wow. Not a flick, bang. And it's rare you see these jabs nowadays because most people it's like the jab's a rangefinder in a flick, not Jack Catterall. For that performance to be as good as it was 15 months out, solid. That was a solid 8 out of 10 performance. The only reason I don't give it the full 9 or 10 is because he didn't get the stoppage, which would have been incredible, although he was close a couple of times. Jack Catterall's good. He's very, very good. That was my first time seeing him live. And you're watching him, very patient with his work, good foot speed, good combinations, very controlled and just relaxed in the corner. I really, really like Jack Catterall. And he's clearly one of the best at 140 pounds. And you can almost now see it. I know people will say that Josh underrated him, but you can see why he caused Josh some problems. Because he's just very cool and chilled and calm with what he's doing. And look, credit to Dara Foley as well, by the way. I thought this guy got hit with everything and he just kept on coming. And Eddie should definitely keep him around. I think he's a solid gatekeeper for anyone that wants to think they're world level at 140 pounds. And he'll shock a few people as well. He'll shock a few. I like him a lot. Credit to Terry Harper very quickly in beating Ivana Habazin. Ivana coming in late notice, but was in some shape. Obviously, she was Katie Taylor's, I think, not chief sparring partner, but one of the main sparring partners. She's a lot bigger than Terry Harper. Naturally, Ivana's fought 160 pounds, whereas Terry can make 140 still. She said that. I'm not sure what they do. I asked her after, look, if it's not Tasha Jonas, which I think would be an undisputed, what do you do? And I think she said she'll go down to 147 or 140. Jessica McCaskill potentially at 147. McCaskill's looking for an opponent because she was supposed to fight Ivana. So that makes more sense, I think. And that's a big name for Terry as well. So hopefully they can make that. Very quickly on Michael Conlan. Man, that Luis Alberto Lopez is a fucking problem. Pardon my French, but he's a fucking problem. He really is. That's now two times he's gone into people's backyard and beaten. Like Josh Warrington. I mean, look, that Conlan getting knocked out almost in a weird way raises Josh's stock. Shows how good, because a lot of people maybe didn't give credit to how good Luis Alberto Lopez was when he beat Josh. Shows how good he is. So look, Josh knew going in, but I did think that Michael Conlan had the tools to beat him, but I don't know now. I was speaking to a few people and I'm like, shit, what do you do with Michael Conlan now? And a lot of people think you should knock it on the head. But that's boxing, isn't it? A couple of defeats and you should knock it on the head. You continue with your Michael Conlan, but there are a few things you need to address there because that's 2 bad knockouts now. 2 bad knockouts in 4. Do you know, it's bad, isn't it? It's bad. I still think he's undersized for featherweight. But yeah, I don't know. He does that thing where he does duck down. He does it quite a bit. And you just got caught. And you know, the funny thing is, you watch that uppercut and it's not even though Lopez got full, like he didn't get full power into it, did he? Didn't look like it just bang. And sometimes they're the ones. It's very reminiscent of that Povetkin White knockout where Povetkin doesn't look like he gets full purchase on it, but it's just beautiful. And look, credit to Lopez, man. Lopez, the danger man now in the division. He really is. And, you know, there'll be a lot of boxing fans that might not have known who Lopez was a year and a bit ago. You certainly know who he is now. All right, Bournemouth, which looked amazing, by the way. Credit to everyone for putting that fight on. Firstly, look, congratulations to Billam Smith, new world champion. You know, I was thinking about Leigh Wood's journey and his story, you know, doing it the traditional way. Like, you know, not getting any sort of push because you're not on Team GB or anything like an Olympian. So you've had to do it the hard way, the small hall shows, taking fights that you don't really want to take just because you've got to, because if you don't, you know, you're going to be forgotten. Billam Smith ticks all those boxes. I mean, this guy's done it the proper way. I love that traditional route. British, Commonwealth. Was he ever English Cruiserweight champion? Please let him have the full set. I'd like actually the full set, like area champion. Let's have a look, please. Let's have a look. Chris Billam Smith. Nah, damn. He done the intercontinental route, but that was the fight with Richard Riakporhe that he lost. Then he won his next fight. That was Commonwealth, British. Oh, I thought he done English. He didn't. That's a shame. But look, credit to him. What an ugly fight, though. What an awful, god-awful, ugly fight. And I'm disappointed with myself because I said to you guys, this fight will deliver. And it didn't. It delivered in terms of, it felt like it was energy sapping for both. And at any time, you're on the edge of your feet, because we see Okoli put down for the first time, but we also know Okoli has power. Chris Billam Smith took a couple of cracks on the chin. It was an ugly fight, and it was actually very difficult to score as well. A lot of people, I guess because of the knockdowns and the point deduction, everyone's like, yeah, well, Chris won that by about 100 rounds. No. Score the fight. Watch it if you can. If you can put yourself through it again, watch it and score it. That fight is very, very close. It was. What were the scorecards in the end? Like 115, 108, yeah, 116, 107 are ridiculous scorecards. I know people are like, no, it's not. No, ridiculous. You've just got to score the fight properly. I'm more in line, and I'll do a video about this, to be where Benjamin Rodriguez was. He had it 112, 112. We'll talk about it. I know what you guys are thinking. I know. Either you're friends with a... No. I actually scored it, Chris Billam Smith. But I can understand where 112 came from. And again, we'll do a separate video about it. Regards to the actual fight, Lawrence Okolie needs to work on a lot. Like, Lawrence Okolie is a friend of mine. You know, I look at him as a brother. I like him a lot. We occasionally speak, but I can't hold back from what I saw. He needs to work on a lot of stuff. He doesn't use his jab at all. And I think his jab could be a really good weapon just because of how long his levers are. For someone that doesn't like fighting inside, and I don't think you're going to change that with Lawrence now. I really don't. Honestly, Emmanuel Stewart could come back down. Emmanuel Stewart ain't changing it. For someone that doesn't like fighting inside, just use your distance then. Set your shots up with a jab. He doesn't. He flicks that left and then he doesn't jab. And it's so disappointing to see. I can't believe how there's no inside work yet. I can't believe. And Lawrence, to be fair, someone did tell me that Lawrence in the post-fight press conference spoke about the fact that the ref was unfair because Lawrence was working inside. He wasn't working inside. He wasn't. I watched it. I watched all the fight last night. I even watched some rounds twice so I could score them properly. He doesn't work inside. And what he does, which is very, very disappointing, Lawrence, he throws that left to set up the right. If the right misses, Lawrence, because he puts so much power into it, almost falls over himself. And then it's almost a panic thing of, I'm gonna hug. I'm going to get close. So he actually reaches out and forces the hug or the clinch or whatever. And that's what's disappointing about the way in which Lawrence fights. He did land a couple of nice sneaky left hooks and he went to the body a couple of times. He was very aggressive. But strange performance from Okoli. If you're Ben Shalom, you're going to be scratching your head a bit here because obviously, look, there was a big deal made about Okoli leaving Matchroom and DAZN and signing with Sky and Boxer. And now he's lost in his second fight. And look, in an ideal world, he wanted to do Okoli, Richard Riakporhe. That's the fight he really wanted to do. You can still do it. But there's no world title. Or you wait for the rematch to happen. If Okoli wins, then Riakporhe. But regardless, Chris Billam Smith could fight Riakporhe in a rematch. So there's still options there. But the two biggest names that you've signed recently just haven't maybe lived up to what you wanted and expected. So I'm talking about obviously Boazzi and Okoli. I don't know, man. I don't know of Okoli. I don't know. I've always felt like he was going to be impossible to beat because I think he has all the attributes to be a good fighter. Mentally, he seems like he's in a good place. The right hand, we know, carries a lot of power, although Billam Smith ate it a few times yesterday. He's very big and strong at the weight. I just felt like, I'm not joking, I thought it was going to be unbeatable at Cruiserweight and then cause some problems at heavyweight. Those things, well, not obviously not the unbeaten, but he could still cause problems at heavyweight, but he needs to work on quite a lot. He does. Like, this is now 2 very good trainers he's been with. Shane McGuigan's a very good trainer. I know Sugar Hill's only been with him for a couple of fights, but Sugar Hill's a very good trainer, I think. And both of them don't seem to have been able to work out this inside game for him. It's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. Don't know. He rushes his work too much as well. Look, it wasn't a great performance from Billam Smith as well, by the way. Before we, give out all the digs to Okoli, Billam Smith didn't look great either. It was a very horrible fight. Very horrible. But look, we'll do a separate video, as I say, on the scoring of it, because I don't think it's as controversial as you think. You guys know what I'm like. When the scoring is controversial, I always say that judge or whoever should be brought up to the board and explain how you... I think he can explain. I think he can explain how we got to 112, because I'm going to try and explain it to you a bit later. But yeah, horrible fight. I'm not quite sure what they do next with both. There is a rematch, and I do not want to see the rematch, but it's there, and if you're Lawrence, you're going to want to take it, because Lawrence would think that Chris didn't beat him, he beat himself. The points deduction, I mean, you remove the point deductions and it's quite close. There's a couple of knockdowns, which I don't think were knockdowns. Round 10 certainly wasn't a knockdown. Certainly, there wasn't even a punch. He just lost his footing. And there was the other one where he kind of hold on to Chris's leg. I don't know what he was doing. But look, we'll talk about them all. But interesting night of boxing. 2 new world champions. Leigh retaining his belt. Chris becoming a world champion. And Luis Alberto Lopez sort of putting himself on the map as a problem at featherweight. Anyway, guys, actually, before we wrap, should we have a look and see if there's any... we'll have a look and see if there's any news on the next video. All right, peace.